Hi you guys, and welcome back. This is probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 or 6 times I've tried making this video. Had a lot of trouble with it. Part of it's because I still have a little bit of anxiety. I think it's definitely going down. It's worse in the morning for some reason. And it's part of it's real. I mean, I really do have a lot to be anxious about, a lot of things, every year goes by. So January comes up, and every January, of course, my YouTube channel kind of sinks. Let's see, November, December, January, it kind of sinks down. It's depressing, none of that's your fault, guys, and I appreciate all the people watching. I noticed I'm really kind of overwhelmed. There was 120 comments on the last video, all full of encouragement, and the like ratio is huge, and 25 new subscribers from making that video. Go figure. But so the question is a couple things. Let's talk about what we're going to do this year. And I kind of have to share with you guys some of my things that are going on. I feel like I do because, it's so you guys understand where I'm coming from, why things have been the way they are, why I've been filming certain things that maybe you guys say, hey, I don't really want to see that, and that's okay. I get it. I wish I could do everything that you guys want to see. So anyway, the problem I have is I have too many things. Okay, I have too many things. Let's kind of look at some of them, and then I really want you guys to share with me your thoughts on what you guys would like to see, because what I really need this year, and again, whatever you guys can contribute, that's great. You guys are doing a great job watching. I know you guys are liking, you're clicking on the links to Amazon, and all this stuff helps. Believe me, it really does help, because again, when I started doing YouTube, had no intentions that this would ever be a full-time gig for me, ever. It was supposed to be just, hey, look, I've got some great ideas. I watched YouTube videos, and I was watching all these guys, butt welding in panels, and and doing this really complicated repair that the average person could never do. And I think it was hindering people. I was like, man, if everybody thinks they have to do that, they may never do it. And then the cars get, what happens to an old Volkswagen like these ones over here behind me? What happens to those if, people feel inferior that they can't do it? And so I was like, I've got to share some knowledge, because I thought, this is just going the wrong direction, like a lot of things are. By the way, we'll talk a little bit about that later in the video, and hopefully it doesn't turn any of you guys off. These are thoughts that I have, and maybe if you can just understand that that's where I'm at, then it might help you to understand why I'm feeling the way I feel. So anyway, I have too much stuff. You see behind me there, that toy hauler? I moved that there temporarily, and I had to kind of go back and figure 7 years ago, temporarily 7 years ago, to fix the air conditioning, or I forget what it was, the refrigerator. We put a refrigerator module in it, sitting right there when Chris was working here helping me, and Chris was awesome. Do miss him a lot, but it was time for him to move on. He's doing great. So you guys that don't know, that's a long time ago. So that truck's been sitting there for 7 years. I always intended to go to Glamis again and ride. I've had to come to realization, and it's really hard for me that I'm just not going to be able to ride anymore. I'm not going to. My cousin still goes. My cousin and I used to go to Glamis together, and we've been riding motorcycles since we're 11 years old. And we rode quads out there, and we had a great time with our families, kids. Our kids started when they were really young. We went out there until my kids were out of the house, pretty much. And then he still continues to go, and he was talking to me a little bit, and he says, "Hey, I can barely ride out there." I go, "What do you mean you can barely ride?" He goes, "Yeah, my arms. When you go over the small bumps and you're going through the camps and stuff," he says, "it's so much on your arms." We didn't think about that when you're riding, you just rode, you're younger, your body doesn't, it does what you want it to do. When I was 45, 47 years old, I'd go out there and to Glamis and ride on a quad. I was riding with couple different times. I was riding with Pro X racers. I mean, these guys I'd be going so fast through the dunes, and it was no big thing. And these guys are on machines with like really bitchin' suspension and everything else. And I'm on my stock suspension quad, motor's built, of course, guys, it's my quad, so 12-to-1 piston, stage 2 cam, it hauls ass, okay? So I'm riding with these guys, right? And this is the kind of what it was like, is I'd be riding and I'd go to like the 5th, 6th gear, whatever, the last gear on my machine, and I'd just be bop, bop, and just on it, and all of a sudden and I'm just wide open, and I go for the next gear and I don't have one. Wide open, just wide open right through the dunes. We used to go through the dunes at night, crazy speeds, crazy. We'd be going so fast that the next day we'd ride through the areas we were going through, and we'd be like, dude, that's a huge witch's eye right there. If you guys ever know what a witch's eye is, it's a big hole in the sand, a huge witch's eye, and you see all these four-wheeler tracks flying over the witch's eye. Could have died doing that stuff. I mean, it was a blast. We had a good time. But I have to realize that's past. I have to let that thing go. Sell all the quads. Sell everything. It's difficult. Probably won't get any money for it or anything like that, but it's got to go. Stuff like that. Every year I kind of reassess things. It's the beginning of the year. It's when you kind of find out where you're at. You kind of reassess things, and the best time for me to do it is in January, because that's usually when my work has always been slow. I've been a painting contractor most of my life. I was a mechanic before that, and body and paint guy. And I do still, people go, well, God, why don't you just let your business go? And, but it doesn't really cost that much for me to stay in business. I think it's about, the other thing, it costs me about $5,000 a year or something like that to stay in business. And I usually make at least that, just at least. More than that, I think last year I doubled that or something. I don't know. It wasn't much. And I used to do that every month. So it's kind of disheartening, and it's kind of like, it's something that you really enjoy doing. I mean, I enjoy I'm the best. Okay. I'm not like almost the best. I'm not like one of the best in the patching and painting world for sign companies, I am the guy. The companies that hire me, they need me. And you might think, oh, well, some younger guy can come out and do it and whatever. Bring him on. Tell him to come out here and do what I do and do it the same quality that I do it for. I hear it all the time. I've heard it over and over and over. A new young guy comes out, he's like, hey man, I can do better than you. I'm like, hop in the truck, go for it. They get schooled. It's hard to do. And it's enjoyable for me, and I like doing it. I like going out and doing wall repair for sign companies and fixing ATM surrounds and painting them, making them look new, and all the things that I've done. I like doing, and it's kind of hard for me to say, hey, let that go. I can't do it right now. But anyway, the problem is things like this. See this truck right here? Can't drive it in California. I mean, I can. I just was able to get 1,000 miles this year again, but in order to drive it 1,000 miles this year, I also have to get a smoke check. Oh, what the hell? 1,000 miles, and you also need to, they're just really doing everything they can to, and it's sabotaging businesses. I mean, people go, oh, that's political, you shouldn't say. No, it's reality. It's happening, and it needs to stop. It's just going too far. I mean, I'm talking to people who are Democrats, and they're like, we're done with it. It's too far. It's too far. Too far. Okay? You take an old truck off, that truck's got a brand new engine in it in 2020. And so I'm going to have to sell it. I got to get rid of it. So I got this towable boom lift. That's what I used for work or whatever. Paid for that. Again, when things were good, I did the right things. I have no debt. So don't. A lot of people were like, "Hey, man, don't ride the ship all the way down." I'm like, "No, hell no. I'm not going to do that." I have solar on my house. I got 7 kilowatts of solar. In the summer, I usually don't have an electric bill. This month, yeah, I got an electric bill this month. I mean, this month, and because the sun's so low, I mean, if you look behind me, it's not that early in the morning. The sun doesn't get much higher than that all day long, okay? All day long it's about that high. And it hits all the trees going around and doesn't get on my solar panels very well. So I get a little bit, I get a pretty good sized bill, I guess, this month. And I got Christmas lights on. Every year I put up Christmas lights that go to music. I've been doing that for years. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing that. It's a lot of work. The kids used to enjoy it, and now nobody drives down our street anymore. Halloween, I don't get anyone, nothing. I used to have the best Halloween house in my other house. Oh my gosh, we had a lot of fun with that. I mean, we used to just I had smoke machines and lights and just crazy stuff, guys. Crazy. When I was a kid, we made a haunted house at a full-blown haunted house. I see people doing it again now. From the pandemic, that's changed. A lot of people are doing that sort of thing because they were just bored, and so now they've done it and maintained it. And I've seen, I don't know, bunches of these haunted houses so I thought that was cool. But we used to do that when I was a kid. Nobody did that stuff. I mean, this was when I was my cousins. So VWs. I didn't ever have my parents never had a VW. Never. My aunt and uncle lived 5 miles away, or lived a mile away. They lived within 5 minutes of my house all the time. And because my mom and my uncle are from within 100 miles of probably where Musty One lives in New Hampshire. They're from different areas over there, Maine and stuff like that. So the funny thing is, my grandmother used to live in a little town called Old Orchard Beach, and one of the VW guys in Riverside goes, "Man, back in Old Orchard Beach." I was like, "What?" And Robert, he's been over here. He has bus over here. We did a bay window a while back. This was several years back. We did a bay window, like a refresh on it, and he was here, and we were talking about, he was talking about Ultra Beach, and there's like 2,000 population there. I go, my grandmother was from there. We used to go back there every summer. We started talking about the little arcade and different, and then we realized, I said, "Dude, weren't you like a hippie back then?" He goes, "Yeah, I was like always inside, dressed." And I go, "Yeah, there was a couple hippie kids around that used to cause trouble." And he goes, "That was probably me." And so I was like, wild. So then, out of the blue, he goes, "Yeah." I said, "What was like the, he says, "Yeah, but I didn't do too much bad stuff." And I said, "Okay." He says, "About the worst thing I would do is I'd steal a bicycle." And I was like, but he says, "I would use it, then I'd put it right back in the same place where I got it from." Guys, life is so freaking, the world is so small sometimes. Check this out. I used to get on my grandmother's bicycle, all right? And I used to ride this bike into town. And I used to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. And in Maine, it's 4 hours difference time. So that was like 7, 6, 5, 3 o'clock in the morning here, okay? I was an energetic kid. I was into I was like ants in my pants all the time. Okay, so that's why, I can do these. I built these cars and everything else. It's kind of, it's just, it's part of me. But anyway, the bike that he used to borrow, that was my grandmother's bike. We figured it out. We started talking about it. I said, "Yeah, it had a really," he goes, "Yeah, it used to have a really big basket." I go, "Oh my God, giant tires, really big ones." He said, "It rode really good." And I said, "Well, it was right over here on the side of the house, between the house and the garage." And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." And they leaned against the wall. And I used to borrow it and put it right back in exactly the same place. Because I went out to one day to go get on it, and the bike was gone. And my grandmother's this old English lady, okay? My family's straight from they came on the boat, all right? So you guys in the UK, my family came on the boat, all right? My mom's mom and dad. So, my grandmother, I go, "Grandma," I said, "where's the bike at? What's going on?" And I went out there, the bike's gone. She goes, "Oh dear, sometimes it seems to just go away, but it seems to find its way home." And I was like, "What? Bikes don't do that." When I was a kid, I had every bike that I ever had. I had a Schwinn Scrambler, dude. A Schwinn Scrambler. I had it for a week. Every bike I had got stolen. Because I lived in an area, you guys that are poor, I know what it's like. Okay, I know what it's like to have nothing. I know what it's like to have Christmas and not have a Christmas tree. I'd done that twice. No money when my kids were young. Being a mechanic, you was, and then in the early 90s, it was bad. The economy was terrible. There was the Gulf War, and I worked at Marsh Air Force Base at the Car Care Center, and at that time, and I was coming to the VW shop after, and it was so bad, and then I got fired, and then I tried to find other work, and there was nothing. There was just, yeah, I remember going to shops and they were like, oh yeah, we'll pay you 15% of parts and labor for fixing cars. And I'm like, I'm adding that up in my head. I'm like, that is absolutely criminal. And I was like, there's no way. I just decided to do other things. I went into doing something else, and I was like, I have to do something different. Just like, I'm almost feel like I'm at the same crossroads right now. I mean, YouTube's awesome. I really appreciate YouTube. I know it's really good, but it's just not making enough money for me to survive. And a lot of people are like, hey man, don't quit. Well, I don't plan on quitting. That's definitely not me. But also part of me has been putting off things for like 7 years. Like the trailer's not moved in 7 years. Okay, I need to move that thing, and now it's time to just sell it. My wife needs me. I need to be spending more time with her. She's been such a trooper, man. She's like, go do it. Go do YouTube. Go to the shows, And there was 10 years. Let's see, between 1999 or 1997 and 2000, and really I think when I started getting into this was like 2015, really. I was going to some of the events before that, and I was building some buses before that, but I wasn't really actively in the Volkswagen scene until probably when my wife kind of got worse, with her thing. She couldn't go places with me like she used to. We used to go places all the time. We used to do things. My wife does not want me talking about arcades, so I know I'm going to get in major trouble for just saying all this, okay? Because she's super private. She doesn't want anybody to know her, how she is or anything. But it's important. It's something for me that I have to deal with, and it affects my YouTube, okay? Because I need to film. It takes a lot of time to film. It takes a lot of energy to film. It takes hours. Things that normally would take me an hour to do take me all day a lot of times because the filming. And I know Musty One has shared that before. He said, man, some things that I just do in like an hour, I end up spending like all day trying to get the camera angle, get the all this other stuff, which is what we do. And it's aggravating. So you're like, oh my God, I feel like I'm just moving so slow. Nothing's happening. It's tough. It's really hard. And I work 7 days a week. There's not a day I take off. I go to shows, and that's kind of like a break. When I'm doing a show video, it's a break. So anyway, those are my problems. Okay, and I'm sorry it's gone on 23 minutes of talking about that to get to the point where I want to talk about. I mean, sorry you guys, there's just all this stuff on my mind right now. So anyway, what I want to talk to you guys about is I need to film stuff that's a little more simple. As much as I'd love to build cars from the ground up, I'm looking at friends of mine, they got some rusty stuff back east and they can't fix it. And I'm like, man, I'd love to go get it, bring it here and restore it. I have two issues. One is that takes an incredible amount of time. Like this bucket truck right here, guys, this thing, holy crap, that thing, building that thing was in some ways probably a huge mistake, okay? Probably should have never happened, but it was a huge accomplishment at the same time. it took me out of the house, and which was good in some ways, but not good in others, because again, I could be with my wife, doing stuff, whatever. So I chose this, and that was it. Once I started it, I knew I had to finish it. I can't go quit right in the middle or take a break or whatever. So I have to continue it, because in 2018, I had a massive heart attack. Okay, I almost died. And I think it was 2018. Yeah, 2018. Massive heart attack, almost died. And one of the things my worries were is if something happened again to me while I'm on this guy, okay, that my wife's going to get stuck with it. And what's going to happen? I don't know. Probably, I always tell her that if something happens to me, get an auctioneer and auction everything off. Just auction it all. Just do it like that. And you'll have enough capital to keep going. There was a point when I had enough capital, I thought, that I was like, But when I did have the heart attack, I was well capitalized. And it was kind of like probably the first time in a long time in my life that I actually had enough money to where I could just go. I was like, it was the ease of life was coming back. Okay, we've all had times where we don't have money. There's times when, and I know there's some of you guys that commented, said, man, we don't have any money. And I just watch your videos because it just keeps me motivated. And I want to continue that, and I want to do that. But I'm also at the same time, I have to do things that aren't burning up my capital. Because I've been, I literally burned up, I don't know, 70 grand or something on that. I can't keep doing that. I don't have 70 grand anymore. But look how quick money goes. The inflation, bad. Oh, it's happening all over the world too. So again, I need to sell this little truck. All that's wrong with it right now is the injection pump is not working right. It just revs up to about 2,000 RPMs. It starts cutting out, and it's like, and I've had it apart like 6, 7, 8, 9 times. I think I just have to buy a new one for $1,000. So it's kind of aggravating, because that truck ran until I parked it. It ran great, no issues with running. And I've got tons of money tied up in this. I got tons of money tied up in this. Again, a lot of people are like, hey, how much are you going to sell the cars for? I'm not selling all of them. The green rag top and the Beetle I want to keep. I mean the oval I want to keep. My 2 buses, I think I need to keep both of those. And it's too much still. I'm kind of like, God damn, what do I need? That's still, in the bucket truck. I need to keep that, I think, right now. Those are the ones I can't let go of right yet. And maybe I will later, right? But, if somebody offered me enough money, it would probably be great, be fine. I'd probably let it go. But then I'm, kind of going like this, okay. So let's say I sell off all my assets, then what? Where will things be in 5 more years? What's going to be the trigger that's going to bring back this economy? There's a lot of people who are like, man, Trump's president. Which I think was probably, regardless of whether you hate Trump, and I get it, okay, not a real fantastic guy spoken wise, and stuff he says sometimes is really just not very good. Okay, I get it. All right, but I think that it was a better choice as far as the economy goes. But you've got massive inflation. This is unprecedented inflation. You know, for years, okay, I'll have to make another video on that. Share your thoughts. But for years, I always knew how much stuff was going to cost. Now I have no idea. I go to buy it, and I'm like, oh, that was like $10 last week, and now it's 15 or. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I know this is happening. So you guys that are in overseas, it's happening everywhere. It's happening here in the US, it's happening in the UK, it's happening in Australia, I mean, and New Zealand. I don't know about like Indonesia and stuff like that. I got guys that comment from there. There's people from all over the world that watch this YouTube channel. And so what I'm trying to figure out, you guys, and this is what I know I'm going on again, but again, all these things are in my head, is what do you guys want to see? What I really would like to make the YouTube channel a lot bigger. If I have small segment videos like this, let's say I have a video like this once a week where I just talk to you guys about stuff, whatever. Would you guys watch it? I mean, 120 comments on that video, 25 new subscribers. I almost think that maybe people need something like this right now. Maybe they just need to talk a little bit, to listen, to be able to share their experiences and their comments and feel like they're heard. And so many of you guys read them and like them. I see that going on down there. So is that what you guys need? Is that what we need right now? I kind of feel like that it is. I kind of feel like that, maybe it won't be as deep or heavy as this one is. But maybe I can just choose a topic that may not even have anything to do with VWs. Everything has a little bit of VW in it for me, though. Okay, everything does. My first car was a Volkswagen. I've had air-cooled stuff my whole life. There's not been a day since I was 18 years old that I haven't had a VW bus. So go figure. All that. All right. So I think maybe I'm thinking something like that we could do. Another thing I think that we want to do this year is, as much as I would like to do one of those really big builds and build something else, a car from the ground up, I don't think financially it's going to be equitable for me to do. And that's a scary thing. It really bugs me, you guys, because that's something that I've always done. Okay, let me just we'll go back a little bit. So I was 18, 19, 20 years. I built all kinds of cars, not just Volkswagens. In my garage, I got a 63 Nova Super Sport convertible. I have no idea what to do with that thing. It's going to cost so much money to repair it. Wife and I were talking about it, and I'm just like, man, maybe I'm going to have to just let it go, sell it, and just get space in the garage, and maybe move a VW in there, one of the cars or something, but I would love to build that car again. I would love to get it running again. I could get it running again. Would you guys be interested in seeing me? It's been sitting for over 10 years. Just get it running again. It's kind of hard because I have disc brakes sitting in the trunk for 15 years. Been sitting in there. I bought them before I moved to this house, and I've been here 15 years. And so I have that. I could make it run again, sell it, or make it run again. I was thinking, put the disc brakes on it. The motor's got a flat cam, so one of the lobes is dead, and so the oil pressure's low. You know, transmission front seal's leaking because it's sitting. You know, you fire it up probably on the old Chevys, and you run them for a little while, and that heats up the front seal on the trans, and usually then it stops leaking. And if you drive it all the time, then it won't leak. But that's stuff I know, dude. You guys, I know all makes, all models, cars. I've worked on everything. So, yeah. I was an ASE Master Auto Technician in the 90s, and I let all that stuff go. You got to pay to renew the tests and all that, so I never did. And go take them. I took all 8 tests the first time and passed 7 out of the 8 when I was 23, I'm thinking. Took all 8 tests, passed 7 the first time. 6 months later, took the transmission test again. Had to study a little bit because automatic transmissions, I don't usually work on them. Had to study stuff into the planetary systems, how that works, what the clutches hold, and then when the clutch holds or the band holds, what does that do to the other planetary system? And I had to get a planetary system out and actually physically do it. And then I was like, oh yeah, I remember all this. Okay, went down, took the test, passed it, no problem. But I could have passed all the body shop ones, but my work wasn't willing to pay for it, so I went, I could have easily passed those, no problem. I got straight A's in college in body shop. In fact, I went in body shop in high school, or in college, and I took body class for like, I don't know, 1 or 2 semesters just because I wanted to use the paint booth. And I never did because it's always something in there, always something going on, and I was like, nah, I have to just get in there, sand it, get it all ready, boom, slide in the booth, mask it off, paint it, done. I don't want to sit there and wait, tinker around for 2 or 3, 4 days waiting for some knucklehead who doesn't know what he's doing. So I was literally there in the body shop class. I'd come into class late, sat down, and the boss, the teacher, and I'm the first one done taking the test, right? Taking the test, sit down, I'm late for class. So I'm already 10 minutes late for class. I get in, I sit down, take the test. I'm the first one done, so I'm done in like 10 minutes. I get up and I go, and I read the whole test again because I thought, well, God, I had to get something wrong, you know. I went, you know, it was too easy. So I went through, did it all again, handed it to him, 95th percentile. He's like, I think you know a little bit about this. I go, yeah, I think so. He goes, well, why don't have to come to class anymore. Just like kind of, whatever you call it, tutoring, you know, whatever. Help some of the other guys. I went, okay. So, and this was when I was 18. Who knows that at 18? 18, 19 years old. I was working in a custom shop painting flames at 18, 19, 20 years old. Taking a van that had gotten in a wreck that had custom graphics all over it and matching that and blending it into the other panels, all the different colors and different things at 18, 19, 20 years old. Who does that? I don't know, you know. So anyway, stuff that we can do, I'm trying to think, you know, I need stuff that's going to kind of bring in a little bit of money. I'm trying to figure out things that will bring in money. Your suggestions would be great. Bring in a little bit of money and I can make videos on. So like a friend of mine had a guy that called him and says, hey, I got a split window bus. It runs, or it doesn't run. It just sat for 15 years. Can you just like make it run again? Something like that would be awesome. You know, something like that I would do, and then make a little bit of money and be able to video it and have them pay for the parts. Because what I'm running into is just buying all these parts and everything I can't do it. I can't keep spending money like that. So that's the type of thing I'm thinking. One of the guys wants me to put the windshield section in for the bay window. And see, the problem I have is I'm going to do this stuff to my standards, and if the people don't like it, they got to pay, regardless of whether, if you wanted it butt welded perfect, you take it to Washburn Metal and pay good money. Okay, if you want me to do it, I may not do it that way. Time, patience, you know, all that. I'm just going to do what I do. So he wanted me to put a windshield section in. I might do something like that, and then video it. So they're not going to be like, I may not do as many or whatever full build videos, but here's the dilemma that I have. And so now I have to look at this. YouTube is my primary source of income right now. I hate to say it because it's not much money. It's a tenth of what I normally make or less. So yeah, a tenth, a little less than a tenth. So then I've got, so for instance, I got this Beetle. I mean, I didn't pay anything for it. You know, I got this thing, brand new pan halves on it. It's all apart. Straight body, really straight body. Have all the fenders. The glass is in those two doors right there. There's the generator. I've got an engine I could put in it, no problem. But just buying the parts for this, you know, it kind of gives me anxiety just thinking about the parts I need to buy, because it's a lot of money for parts. Yeah. So I kind of get a little bit worried about that. So I don't know, you know, what can I do that doesn't cost much to do. You know, going to the shows and filming the shows is great. But I'll tell you guys from my point of view what it is what happens is, from my point of view, shows are kind of a filler income unless I have, like, and that's why I do it. A lot of people get mad. Unless I have an amazing thumbnail with some decent looking woman in a bikini or something crazy, or something, you know, it doesn't even need to be in a bikini. I'm just saying, like, I had this one where it's like kind of a younger girl, you know, like, I don't know, probably 20s, just has like this much skin showing. That's all. Something that looks attractive in the thumbnail. They just don't do enough. They do, you know, I need to see, this is what I need to see, and I know this isn't your fault. This is just, you know, me talking, because this is what I need to make YouTube profitable. Is I either need this, I either need my other channels, the niches that I found on those, to do better, which I'll put links in those for you guys. You guys can check it out. If some of you guys are not going to like Mike's random videos, some of you guys are going to love it. Okay, there's videos on there that are funny as hell, but some of you guys will think that's insulting. I can't believe it. You'll think it's insulting. Driving around showing trash on the ground that shouldn't be there. I mean, why did, you know, if there's trash on your street, you're just going to leave it there and say, hey, let the city come pick it up? No, hell no. On my street, did I see trash? Oh, I'm down there driving down the middle of the road with my dumpster. Let all my neighbors see. I'm going all the way over there, and guess what happens? I go pick it up. Next time there's trash in the ground, guess what happens? Somebody else saw me pick it up, and they go and they do the same thing. Go figure. That's how you keep your neighborhood good. You don't wait for the city and the government. My God, just. So I got videos on stuff like that, just doing stuff, city tours and stuff, like all random. There's stuff about anything on there. So, and I stopped doing those two reasons is I stopped doing them because I don't know. I hate to. I don't want to do something and I don't think there's anything in it that would cause issues. I don't want YouTube to demonetize everything and take everything down. They tend to do that kind of sort of thing. So so I have to be careful, you know. So I don't want. They'll take down all 3 channels. They'll take down everything. And then what I do? I'm done. I don't know. Sell the whole house. Sell everything I've got. Just move to like Arkansas in some little town. Buy up a whole street or something. You know. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Personally, it'd be completely life-changing. So, anyway, can't think about that. So, what can I do to get... Notice I'm not asking why. What can I do to get 20,000 views or more on every video that I release? What can I do? One of the things I know that I could do is get the thumbnail like that, okay, at the show. I know it's just the way it is. Nobody watches them. It doesn't bring in new people. The algorithm needs to see, like the last video I did well because 25 new subscribers. Go figure. Just me talking. All right. So when something goes up like that and 25 new subscribers come in, YouTube starts suggesting it. I don't know why. And the other thing that happens is when it gets up over about 25,000, 26,000 views, YouTube starts to suggest it, and then it goes up from there. And then eventually, once I get a ton of subscribers, if let's say I have 200, 300, 400,000 subscribers, you always get that much, okay? Because just your subscriber base opens it up and clicks on it and watches, even if they only watch a minute of it or whatever, it becomes a number. And then when people only watch that much of the video, it kills it. It has to be the longer, all the things that add up to algorithm giving you love are things like the longer person watches it, the longer they watch it. If people watch the video longer, percentage-wise or time-wise, either one, algorithm gives you love. If there's a like ratio is way high, algorithm gives you love. If one comment on the video gets 100 likes, that's the trigger, huge. Algorithm gives you love. If you, I was trying to think, so it's time they watch it, all that stuff. I think that's pretty much it. All those things, and there's some others, will make the algorithm suggest it. And when the algorithm suggests it, it can go to millions of views. I haven't had that happen ever on my YouTube channel. And I'm going to show you one more thing before we leave. Because my biggest video. What's my biggest video on all my YouTube channels? Right? You see that building right there? I put 3 different videos up on me walking around and talking about how I made this. I made this shed right here. Put 3 different videos up. All right? And I put it on Mike Effing Garage. I put it on Mike the Painter. I put it on Mike's Random Videos. The one on Mike's Random Videos was the worst version of it. I stuttered. I said everything wrong. I didn't do a very good job, so I put it on Random Videos. I used to put my crappier videos on Random Videos. That was the whole thing. It was like I worked hard making a video. It didn't come out very good, so I'd use Random Videos as an outlet. I'd just throw it on there, and it was paying me a little bit of money. So I was like, okay, cool. At least I'm not wasting it. And little by little, that channel does really pretty good on junk, you know. So anyway, so this it's at 1.8 million views. Go figure. The best version of this video was on Mike Effing Garage. It has 40,000 views. Only million view video I've got was that shed right there. In order for Mike Effing Garage to go really big, okay, I gotta get a few million view videos. So, and personally, I just don't know how to do it. So, anyway, that's my dilemma, guys. And I kind of just would like your input and just tell me what you think. Just let me know if you've got some ideas. But the problem is pretty complicated because I have to film it, I have to edit it, and it has to be able to be done in a time frame that's not too long. So it's yeah, I can make an amazing video. I'll put just all this effort and time and editing and everything, and then something isn't right. The title, the tags. If you guys know how to do that stuff, email me, okay? And maybe you can help me with that. You know, give me a tag list or something. Give me titles if you can make thumbnails that are better. You know, email me, we'll talk, whatever. Help me, because I really just, I need help. I really just need help. I don't know what to do. You know, I've got to make this happen, and I don't know how to do it. I mean, I started out this, I didn't know how to film. I didn't know anything about that. And getting the right equipment. You know, one of my friends said to me, and this I'll end with this. One of my friends says to me, do anything but just pointing at the fender. My video was just talking and me pointing the camera because I didn't know how to walk, talk, and film at the same time and look at the camera, and all that stuff would just mess up my whole thought process, and I couldn't do it. And he was like, just do anything. So after that, I realized there's this button on the camera called pause. And so I would just try and say one thing, and I would pause the video. Then I go, well, I can think, okay? Then I would move the camera, and then I would say something else. And he goes, man, that's so much better. And I'm like, okay. So that was my first attempt at editing. And it was just something, I still do it now, but it was, you know, that's how bad I was at this. I didn't know what I was doing. So I had all this knowledge about how to fix things and how to do things, but filming is just like, I was no good. I'm better at it now, though. You guys can see videos are much better. They're, you know, better than they used to be. The kind of cameras I'm using are better. I still need better stuff, you know, than I have now. But what I have right now has to work for the next year. So anyway, and hopefully we grow. And I'll talk to you guys, I guess, on the next video. I know this is really long, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next one. Please like, share, and subscribe.